cashing out and finally detaching yourself from your HODLs and going into fiat or a crypto token that is usually tied to fiat. How are we going to do it? What is our plan for the next month? Well, it's time to find out in about 10 minutes or less, because it's time for Chico Crypto. So over the weekend live stream, like Leo DeCap playing the Wolf of Wall Street, I said I'm not funkin' leaving. I'm not selling. Why? Well, if you've heard my opinion for any amount of time over the past couple of months, this run is something special, and not special in the way many people think. As much as people want to believe institutions are flooding in and propping up the price, this is a false narrative. There are some institutions coming in, some big names dropping big price tags, but it's actually less than the last run, even towards the end of it. What do I mean? Well, let's just look at the Bitcoin trading volumes today versus back then, specifically USD and Tether. As institutions will not be playing with Tether, I will tell you that. They will be playing with fiat. Going to today's trading volumes, it's 1.5 billion USD and nearly $7 billion in Tether. Back in April of 2018, at the tail end of the run, while we were crashing, trading volumes looked like this. 2.18 billion in USD, 2 billion in the Japanese yen, and only about 800 million in Tether. So, supposedly there were less institutions trading back in 2018, yet there was over 4 times the fiat volume versus Tether with the yen and USD combined. And today we have more institutions and their deeper pockets, which should only be allowed to play with fiat. We have less USD trading volume, only 1.25 billion, while there is 7 billion in Tether trading volume. So if that narrative was true, more institutions, things wouldn't look like that. There would be more USD volume, higher than mid-2018, getting into the depths of that bear market. So to me, that means there is one thing keeping this run going to the levels we see today. And in my opinion, that's Tether USDT. So I'm sure some of you are confused now. Chico, you think this run is propped up on Tether, yet you aren't funking selling yet? This doesn't make sense. Don't worry, it's about to. If you didn't know, Tether is in the hot seat right now. December 11th, we found out about the document handover. It was going to happen, which the AG has been fighting for over a year, and Bitfinex has been fighting not to do. And diving into the actual court document, it said production could be finalized in the coming weeks. This was December 11th, so I would expect it to be done. Then it says, upon completion, the AG anticipates being able to inform the court as to its position, and conversely for respondents, Finex, to take a position as well. And they set the deadline for position submission to January 15th, 2021. So that necessarily doesn't sound good. We will get the AG's position most likely January 15th in just 9 days. But you want to know what's interesting? As this date gets closer and closer, the clock ticks some more. The talking heads of Tether are pushing into the limelight. Peter McCormick tweeted this yesterday. I've got Paulo Ardoinio and Stuart Hoegner, CTO and General Counsel for Tether, coming on the podcast tomorrow to deal with the Tether FUD. You heard that right. Deal with the Tether FUD. They're calling it FUD, and they are going to deal with it today. Pre-position from the New York AG. And Cassandra Coppola on Twitter explains it nicely. She retweeted Peter's tweet saying, deal with Tether's FUD equals pull the wool over everyone's eyes again. But we here at Chico Crypto, we don't have our eyes closed, all woolly mammoth. We have open eyes. We know what Tether is and what it does. So I know some of you are expecting a clear-cut cash-out plan, but I cannot give that to you with the uncertainty in this climate, as I'm just as confused on what's going to happen. But I hope to give a clearer and more thought-out view than any other crypto YouTuber. But regarding cashing out and when, there is one specific event I'm keeping my eyes on: the creation of laws that will count some stablecoins as securities. I covered it for the first time 5 days ago, and the Treasury was saying certain stablecoins may be considered securities. So that happened December 23rd. What happened yesterday that ties right into this? Well, it was announced by the Treasury's OCC that federally chartered banks and thrifts may participate in independent node verification networks and use stablecoins for payment activities. Now, payment activities, it's a big step forward. Back in September, it was announced they could do certain activities like holding reserves, but now they can use them for payments. But back when they first announced the reserves, guess who put out a response? The SEC. Those that can go after securities. Those that can destroy from the financial outside in, not from the corporate inside out. In the statement, they said, whether a particular digital asset, including one labeled a stablecoin, is a security under the federal securities laws is inherently a facts and circumstances determination. This determination requires a careful analysis of the nature of the instrument, including the rights it purports to convey and how it's offered and sold. Guess what case is answering a ton of those questions for the SEC in court? The New York AG cases. But the government moves slow. Tether and Bitfinex have been delaying their case as much as they can. I mean, it's already been 1 year and 8 months since April of 2018 when the New York AG first announced the case. And we are only getting to the document handover, but it is the evidence. So, I'm no dummy. The markets have been moving fast and moving hard because Tether has been printing. So, I'm keeping my eye on the markets around this date, January 15th. Things are crazy bullish, and I'm pretty sure Tether plans to operate as normal throughout the year, but like I said, a bomb could be dropped. The markets, they start to tumble and tumble hard around this date, I just might pull out into a stablecoin, depending on how far that tumble could be. Uncertainty with me, there's uncertainty everywhere. 5 days ago, I covered Andrew Renhack, who understands Tether and these markets even better than I. He called the all-time high break before it happened in late November, and also said we would go to 25K by January. He was correct. And then he said in January, we would go to 30K because of Tether. He was correct. But this was his last tweet. Told you 30K was coming. Didn't think it would be that fast though. I think FOMO is the dominant driver of the price now. Tether printing and peg is still bullish, but plus 10% in a day is fairly blow off toppy. I take profits. He sees it as blow off toppy as the printer is running wild, but it's still bullish as it means Tether is doing what it does. Print. Although even he has no idea where it will go in the short term. So my cash out strategy for the next few weeks is to not cash out. I'm eyeing the markets up to January 15th for anything unnaturally down. It's obvious from the Tether talking heads going on Peter's podcast, they're looking for good PR before some possible bombs are dropped when the AG takes its next position. So if it's possible bombs from the AG, why not listen to Renhack? He said he would take profits now and it might go sub 20K. Well, I'm Chico Crypto, and it's highly possible by the Tether talking heads going into the public limelight and addressing it as FUD, which Peter said they were going to do, they are planning to fight and continue to operate per normal. And if they fight and operate per normal, cashing out would be pretty dumb, as they won't be done printing for the year. But that next big event we would need to keep our eye on is Tether being ruled as a stablecoin security, which I said, I think the AG case is setting Tether up to be ruled just that. When will it happen? If it does, well, tune into Chico to find out. Cheers. I'll see you next time.